Here we go. I'll be there in a minute. Just
Okay.
smile. Okay. Go. Okay, hello. I am here with Beth Schwartz, a licensed social worker and care manager certified with Optimal Aging Advisors. So thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. Thank
How
you.
are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm excited to talk with you and hear this very important information that you're going to share with us. So
Great.
why don't you tell us all a bit more about the work that you do?
Okay. So professionally, I work as a social worker. For over 25 years, I've been working in the healthcare arena, mostly with seniors. And currently, I'm working as a private care manager. So in that capacity, I and the other care managers I work with help seniors and their families navigate the healthcare system and their living arrangements and their care needs. And we also provide advocacy support on their behalf. So to break that down, we help families and seniors consider their options for care, options for where they're going to live, options for how they want to receive their medical care, post-acute care after being in a hospital. We talk to them about their insurance benefits, help them understand their insurance coverage. We help them figure out what they need to be successful to live at home and maintain at home. And sometimes we help manage the care that they have in the home. We do some big planning with them and figure out options and what they want to do. Sometimes we help them implement the plans. Sometimes we go so far as to be the ones to order their medication refills, to order their equipment, to order their medical supplies. So we work differently with every family and every senior depending what they need, but we walk with them hand in hand as they make their way through life and the changes that it brings them. So we've seen them through a lot of different aspects of what they're dealing with.
Wow, that sounds like you do help an awful lot. And how are the seniors that you're working with faring during these unprecedented times?
So, like us, they have a range of emotions that go with it and a range of responses to it. So just like the rest of us, some are doing okay with this and some are having a rougher time. So some emotionally are feeling like this is overwhelming and they're terrified. Some seniors are feeling like, I've had a long life and something's going to get me and maybe this is it. And they're not quite as scared as their adult children wish they would be. So sometimes the kids seem to be more upset, more scared than the parents. Some of the seniors are having a really hard time with the social distancing.
Sure.
Some of them are doing okay. The seniors who've been the homebodies, they haven't gone out a lot. They might not even be the ones to be doing their grocery shopping, and they mostly stay at home. And they haven't been connected into community before. They're doing okay because their life has changed.
Right.
Seniors who are having a hard time seem to be the ones who were active. They were going out to senior centers. They were going to the adult exercise classes, maybe the things that the JCC had, like the Silver Sneakers programs. They were going to the adult daycare centers, and all of those programs shut down and they're not running virtually. And the seniors, as we know at Temple, some of our seniors are connecting into our virtual programs and doing great with it. But a lot of seniors do not have the computer know how to do it. And the natural inclination would be, well, let's send in a teenager this out, and we can't do that. And those seniors are really, really struggling. And if you look at Governor Wolf's plan for reopening Pennsylvania, as where he laid out that red, yellow, green phasing
Right.
the other day. Opening senior centers is not in the yellow phase. So my biggest concern is for the seniors who used to be active and are not able to be active. Now, and that is going to be the difficulty for them, I think.
Mhm. So it sounds like depending on what your lifestyle was like before COVID-19 really affects how you're able to deal with it now.
Right. And you know, I've got two teenage kids. I've got a 17-year-old in high school and 19-year-old home from college. My 19-year-old home from college, she's connecting with every college group that she's been involved in. My 17-year-old connecting with every group of friends on the computer. So yes, life is shut down for them. Physically, they can't be with their friends, but they are connecting online virtually.
Mhm.
Ways that just astound and amaze me. And our seniors do not have that.
Right. Are there any other changes you're seeing in your field of work because of COVID-19?
Yeah, the healthcare system is really impacted, and in some interesting ways. So as I said, the community senior services have changed. The adult daycares, the adult day programs have shut down. Now they're still distributing meals. One of the big things that the adult day centers do is they provide meals to the people who go there,
Mm.
distributing those meals. Access transportation is running, and they're taking people to literally go pick up their meals.
Wow.
This transportation is actually, it's not one big entity. There's several transportation companies that feed into it. And some of those transportation companies are calling their regular riders and checking in on them. So where their seniors are connecting virtually, they are getting a lot of calls from a lot of places, and the senior centers are doing that. They're doing check-in calls, and they're trying to figure out what people need. So things are shifting. As some of us have experienced, routine medical care isn't happening. So seniors who would go to the podiatrist to get their toenails cut every 60 days because Medicare would cover it, those appointments aren't happening. So they're getting nervous about things like that. Their routine medical tests are happening, and that's nerve-wracking. We're all experiencing that, but seniors experience it more because they have more routine medical care needs. And the telehealth and telephone medical visits are harder for them, sometimes because they don't have the computers to use and to access it. If their adult children used to take them to appointments, we attend a lot of appointments with our clients. We can't do that. It's harder for us to join in via telehealth or a telephone call. So they feel like their medical care isn't happening as well. And then there's the issues that we're all hearing about in the nursing homes being locked down, the hospitals being locked down, no visitors are allowed in. And that is disconcerting both for the families who are on the other side and for the seniors who are in there, they feel abandoned. The other thing to think about is that where we're all in our homes and being told to stay in our homes, people in care communities, so people in independent living communities, in personal care homes, assisted living, and nursing homes, they're being mostly encouraged to stay in their rooms because to not be out in the public spaces gathering. So as we're moving around in our larger apartments, our larger homes, they're being kept in a very small room, and they're not having the communal dining experiences. They're not having the group activity experiences like they used to have. So that's been a challenge. Families can't come in and visit and do the things for them that they used to do. So they're missing that contact. That said, the nursing homes and the care communities are keenly aware of what's happening, and many of them are working as hard as they can, but that is happening within them. Now, interestingly, the in-home providers of care, the home health agencies, the hospice agencies, the people who come in to help with the bathing, meal preparation, provide companionship at home, do some shopping, they're still coming in the home. we're a little bit nervous about that. What's going to happen? Are the providers still going to come in the home? We were worried what's going to happen when all the providers start getting COVID, or what's going to happen. We haven't seen that. They're still coming in the home, and they actually are saying we could use more business. A lot of families, family members aren't working, so they're saying we'll take care of mom and dad right now. We don't need to pay the help. So they're actually willing to do work. So you can get help at this point in the home. The other piece that's been happening in the hospitals and nursing homes is a lot of doctors are cutting back on how much they're going into those communities. Healing in those communities makes sense. All the residents who live in there are not the ones who are going to bring COVID into the nursing homes. They're there. It's the people who are coming in who are going to bring it, hence the lockdowns and not having visitors, but doctors could be among the people bringing it in. So most of the psychiatry practices that would be going in aren't going in. They're either doing a telehealth thing or they're just talking to the nurses as needed. And even some of the primary care doctors have cut back on how often they're going, which puts a lot of burden on the nurses there to do really good assessment, medical assessment. So that's been interesting. And some of the nursing home and care communities are restricting how often the hospice agencies and hospice providers can come in. Again, trying to limit how, who's potentially bringing the virus in. So that's impacting care. And those are things that I think as we sat in February and the very beginning of March, and we were thinking, what is this going to look like? I don't think we were thinking that that aspect of care would change, but it definitely is changing in that regard too.
Wow. So it sounds like the necessary precautions are providing some unique challenges as this continues.
They are, and that's the key thing. Some families have gotten really upset. My mom's locked in her room, and you've got to get her out of her room. And we're thinking, no, we're not going to be calling up the nursing home and saying, you need to let these people out, right? These are necessary precautions, as you've said. But yeah, they're providing very unique challenges. I just think of what would this look like 10 years ago when we didn't have the computer technology that we have.
Sure.
Yeah, it's provided some challenges.
Right. So given those challenges, what do you recommend to families as they think about caring for loved ones who may be in these situations?
So one of the things to keep in mind is that these challenges don't make care impossible, and choices have always been difficult. It's never been easy to figure out, what's the right thing to do for mom, dad, aunt, uncle, loved one who you're helping to make these choices. So COVID-19 puts a different twist on things, and it has us taking other different things into account. But these aren't impossible decisions to make. There are some people that truly need to be in a care community at whatever level they need to be in, whether it's a skilled nursing community or a personal care home or assisted living. They truly need that environment, and they can go there and they can get good care. So that still remains an option. And even though people in those care communities, they aren't having the communal dining experiences, they aren't having the group activities, they're surrounded by staff who are there taking care of them, and they have that contact with the staff that seniors who are in their home or in an apartment building aren't getting. So they have there are advantages still to that care. There's just things to take into account. So every family has to think about, what is the priority for my loved one? What are my priorities, and what can be done at home? What can we reasonably do at home? What can't we reasonably do at home? What is the best solution and situation? There is no one right answer that fits everybody and every time, and it can be managed. the other thing to know is that there's ways to manage care in the home, and there's ways to manage care in a care community. So in the care communities, iPads are like the greatest thing ever. And most care communities have iPads. And in fact, I have a client who moved into a new nursing facility last night from a hospital. And I spoke to the social worker today. And I said, when she was in a personal care home, I was doing a weekly FaceTime with her. And she said, well, the activity director will be in touch with you and we're going to set up FaceTime. So they will do that with family. I was on a care conference by phone in a different care community, and the family was commenting on how difficult it is being separated. And the nurse said, well, did the activity staff call you about setting up your family Zoom call? And they said, no, not yet. And they said, okay, well, we got to get on that. We're arranging family Zoom calls where we can get multiple family members on at the same time. So the care communities are very, very aware. For 20 years, I worked in a skilled nursing facility, and I'm still in contact with people who I worked with. When the nursing facilities, they went into lockdown as fast as the schools closed. This hit everybody very fast. The staff in the nursing facilities were using their personal smartphones to FaceTime with families, because they said, you know, families were understandably very nervous right away. And they said, we knew that what they needed was to see their loved ones, and we're going to be the ones to get that to them. And we don't have enough iPads yet. So until we get those iPads, we're just going to go in and use our personal cell phones and do that FaceTime. Hospice agencies are making videos when they're in doing their visits. They're making videos that they're then sharing with the family members, because they know that they're there and the loved ones are. So everyone's really trying their best to make it work and to be understanding. So the hardest part is, you can't just walk into the facility and go see the social worker and go talk to the physical therapist and to the nurse, right? You're doing this all by phone, and then you're waiting for everybody to call you back. And as you're making calls to all these people, so are 15 other people trying to get the same report that, you know, if they were visiting, they could do. So that's been the challenge. But for the most part, everyone I'm talking to on the phone, they're gracious and they're understanding. The in-home caregivers, they're feeling fortunate to be able to provide care. They feel like they have an incredibly important role to play now, in keeping and protecting their clients who are at home, both in terms of making sure they've got groceries that they need, and in terms of making sure that they stay safe and that they stay healthy. So these choices, again, they're not easy choices, but they're not impossible. And we have found that we can advocate on behalf of our clients and make sure that they are continuing to get the care that they need, despite the fact that we can't be there and their families can't be there.
Right. That's great to know that that support exists for families, but making the choices, I think, sounds difficult. So where could someone go for help if they needed help making those choices?
So there's a lot of places to turn for help. So there are some information and referral services in Pittsburgh. So if you just need some information, you're looking for lists of places of where can we turn, the Allegheny County Area Agency on Aging, Pittsburgh, the state of Pennsylvania has area agency on agings that cover every part of the state. They have them for every county. So they can provide information and referral. Age Well Pittsburgh, which is by the Jewish Association on Aging, they also have a lot of information and a lot of resources for families. So they're another good contact. And again, they've got a website that you can access. If you're looking for a care manager, our company, Optimal Aging Advisors, is always willing to help and talk to people. And we do one-time case consultations. We see people through specific transitions, and we do ongoing care management where we work for clients for extended periods of time and sometimes for years. There is an Aging Life Care Association that's a national association of care managers. And so for anybody who doesn't live in the Pittsburgh area or wants to explore other options, can go to their website. That's the Aging Life Care Association, and can locate a geriatric care manager who's certified. There are not a whole lot of us certified in the country. There's only about 2,000. But it can be a very valuable resource. And the other thing to know is that no decision that you make is a final decision. So if you're sitting here thinking, you know, I made a decision for my mom and I don't think I made the right decision, almost every decision can be changed and altered and, you know, bolstered and revised. So a lot of times people feel like they're making decisions in crisis. Somebody's in the hospital, they can't stay there for long, and they need to, you know, make a fast decision, which can feel overwhelming, but nothing's permanent and any decision can be changed. But at the same time, you want to do it right the first time if you can. So there are resources available. There are also resources available if you know that you're looking for a personal care home for a loved one. Senior Living Advisors provides excellent resources for people looking for personal care homes. And again, they have a website as well. So there are a lot of good resources out there for help that people need.
Yeah, this is such important information. Is there anything else that I haven't asked you about that you'd like to share?
You know, the one other thing that I think is really important for people to be thinking about is planning and thinking ahead as much as possible. So ideally, you don't want to get into the crisis situation and not be sure what you want to do. So this is a time as people are thinking about things, a lot of people are feeling like they have some downtime as we're sitting around our homes. It's really important to have conversations with your loved one. What are their wishes for medical care? What are their wishes for their living arrangements and their care needs? Talk about priorities. The Allegheny County Bar Association used to have a great living will form on its website. I checked it out the other night so I could give out the information. They're revising the form and it's not available right now. So I would love to refer you to that form. But even if you don't have an actual living will form and an actual advance directive, the most important thing is to understand how aggressive does your loved one want their care to be? At what point do you want comfort to be the ultimate goal and the ultimate priority? And where do they want to receive care? Do they want to be living in their house when it means that they can't function and they need somebody to come in and help them a lot? Or would they rather be living in a community where there's communal activities and people around to be with? So if you understand what their priorities, what their concerns are, what's most important to them, when you find yourself thrust into that decision-making role, instead of saying, I don't know what mom would want, you can say, hey, when we talked about it, this is what my mom would want. So this is what I know I need to implement that can make the decision-making process a lot easier. And the other thing I would say for people who have loved ones who are older, who are at home, whether they're a family member, whether it's a friend, whether it's somebody that you know, reach out to them. If there's somebody that you used to see, you know, at Temple and you haven't seen them, you know, on the Friday night services, reach out to them. Maybe they can't connect in. Maybe they're there and they just don't know how to make comments, so they're there, but reach out to them. A lot of our seniors are feeling isolated and alone, and they can't connect in virtually, but they can talk on the phone. And that phone is going to be a lifeline to them, and the phone conversations help them connect. So we need to do what we can to reach out to the seniors around us, the seniors in our neighborhoods, the seniors in our communities, and engage in those conversations. Talk to them about their past. Talk to them what it was like growing up. People say to me, I don't know what to say to them. Just ask them to tell you about what they used to do, where they met their spouse, you know, what their first job was, what it was like to raise their kids. They'll be happy to talk and share, and it will, you know, give them something to do to fill their time, because they need that.
Yeah. What an important reminder that reaching out to connect to those in our community who we might not be thinking about, but should be thinking about, is so important. And thank you for giving us all this great information, Beth, and guiding us as we think about how to care for our loved ones in this time of the coronavirus. So thank you so much for joining me.